you. Senator Williams.
Thank you, Mr President. Mr President, my question is to the Minister for Education and Training, Senator Birmingham. Minister, on Saturday I was on a polling booth south of Inverell, a little town called Bundarra, and the Labor volunteer handing out was saying to the people coming in to vote, the coalition government has cut hundreds of thousands of dollars out of the Bundarra school funding. I thank you for the information, Minister, where you fed me the details where this year Bundarra School will get $464,000, going up to $703,000 within 10 years, and extra funding going in that. So given that false, misleading porky pie is being spread by Labor, can the Minister update the Senate on how the coalition government's fair, needs-based school funding will provide more funding to schools like Ryde Secondary College, Macquarie University Special Education Centre and St Gerard's Catholic Primary School in the electorate of Bennelong?
The Minister for Education and Training, Senator Birmingham.
Well, thank you, Mr President. I thank Senator Williams for his question, and indeed I'm sure his exemplary work at the Bundarra Public School on Saturday, where I've no doubt that to a man and a woman they would have each been supporting, I'm sure, Barnaby Joyce because of Senator Williams's advocacy. Mr President, indeed, Senator Williams is right that those opposite will stoop to any level, any depth in terms of the lies they will tell, the mistruths they will spread, the scare campaigns they will run on any level, on any issue, including, of course, school funding. And Senator Williams, thank you for highlighting the fact that in Bundarra funding goes up, as indeed it does for schools right around Australia, under a fairer, needs-based model that is more consistent with the recommendations that David Gonski handed down in his review a number of years ago now. And indeed that flows through to the schools that Senator Williams has highlighted that happen to be in the electorate of Bennelong, where I am equally confident the Labor Party will be out there spreading more lies and mistruths and scare campaign. Indeed, for St Gerard's Catholic Primary School, as part of the Catholic education system in New South Wales, they will see their funding grow from some $2 billion for that system next year up to some $2.9 billion by 2027. Significant, strong growth. Ryde Secondary College, a very large secondary school in the government system in New South Wales, with around 1,000 students, will see its funding grow from some $2.8 million in 2018 up to $4.3 million by 2027. Or indeed, because it is a needs-based model, let's take the Macquarie University Special Education Centre, a centre with 44 students of very high needs, and under the needs-based model, they of course see the strongest growth from around $900,000 up to $1.9 million, or in per-student terms, support of some $40,000 per student
Senator
that will be delivered.
Time for the answer has expired. Senator Williams, a supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr President. I say that Conning only got 44 people at Bundarra to vote Labor, and I wonder, so the lies just simply did not work. So I ask the Minister, can the Minister outline how the coalition government is providing record levels of funding for schools across New South Wales?
Senator Birmingham.
Well, Mr President, right across New South Wales, our school funding model will deliver an increase of some $1.1 billion just over the forward estimates period. That's a 19.8%, a virtually 20% increase in funding. And, Mr President, it's geared most strongly towards those of highest need. As a consequence, we see funding growth even faster in the government sector, running at some 23.6% over the forward estimates period, while in the non-government sector still gets strong growth of around 17.3%, growth well above inflation, well above projected wages growth that provides real additional support into New South Wales schools. And of course it stands in stark contrast to the work of Christina Keneally, the Labor candidate in Bennelong, the former New South Wales Premier, who as Premier was happy to cut $318 million out of New South Wales schools. Sanctimonious they are, arguing for school funding, but their candidate, the former New South Wales Premier, was happy to rip money out of their schools.
Order. Senator Williams, a final supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr President. I thank the Minister for doing a magnificent job in the school funding area. And can the Minister advise how the coalition government's reforms will ensure that this growing level of funding is used to improve student outcomes?
Senator Birmingham.
Well, Mr President, having more funding is good. Ensuring that it's delivered according to need is important. But what you do with it is what matters most. Ensuring, of course, that students get the quality educational experience that they deserve, that every student has the opportunity to succeed. Now, as a government, we've already proudly delivered on reforms to initial teacher education, initiatives to try to lift the uptake of foreign languages, to support basic literacy and numeracy skills, to develop and enhance students in the STEM disciplines, the rich and complex areas that are critical, indeed, to people's future employment prospects. So across the board, we've pursued initiatives to date, but we will build on those, particularly with the work that David Gonski and the current review to achieve educational excellence in Australian schools is undertaking. We will make sure that every dollar delivers the best possible outcomes for Australian students, because that's what they deserve to get the best start in their lives.